Hello everyone, William Johnson here. Counting, it helps to learn how to move sounds around. For instance, if I just play in 4/4, boom, ga, basic rock beat. Okay, cool. But what if the snare is in a different place and it sounds different? What if the bass notes are in a different place? What if the snare is different? How do I learn how to do this without just constantly trying to play it over and over and then memorize it? And how do I make it easier to learn how to move this around? Well, there's something that drummers do in their fundamental growth, in their matriculation, in their learning, when it comes to counting, when it comes to having a certain rhythmic knowledge and being able to have a map, so that they can move the snare and the bass and all the other notes, the ghost notes and everything else around. And one of these tools is really huge, is counting. And I'm going to give you an exercise where you count out loud and play, and we can move this snare instead of just doing an exercise I mentioned before where it's bass and snare, bass, snare, or maybe even, right? This will really help your vocabulary to increase and help you to fill out the sound a little bit more. What we're going to do is, it's basically a rhythmic displacement. It's moving rhythms in the bar, in the measure around, all right? So we're going to play move the snare around, but we're going to count out loud. We're going to move the snare on the and of 2. Let's just do it with eighth notes. So we're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we're going to play the first beat on the bass. Then the second beat is going to be on the and of 2 instead of beat 2. All right. Not every rhythm plays a bass snare on 2 and 4. So this is a good exercise to start learning how to move it around. All right. And of 2. Then we're going to play the bass on 3. Then we're going to play the snare on 4. So it's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1 and a 2 and 3. Oh, I missed it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4. Now, if you play this and you start playing it up to speed and you keep missing that 3, this exercise is for you. If it's not a problem, it's too easy, the exercise is probably not for you then. Notice wherever you trip up. If you find, oh, I'm tripping up in that area, it's probably because we need to focus on counting. And this is giving you a map, okay? Basically, I use the note values, quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th note, 32nd notes, dotted notes, triplets. I use these different ideas as a grid, a map, so that it helps me to learn new rhythms and songs, and I use it as a tool to actually learn them faster as well, instead of just hearing and copying and then trying to do that over and over. For instance, if I go boom, dot, boom, dot, and I tell you now copy me. Or if I go dot, 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 boom, you do it. Dot, 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 boom. You could probably copy me pretty well. But if I say, okay, now copy me, and I say, where's the third boom at? Boom, 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 dot. Boom, 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 dot. Now, if you could tell me exactly, oh, it's on the end of 2, or it's on the end of 3, or it's a 16 note, this or that, now you've increased to another level of intention. It's kind of like a piano player who can play, but also knows exactly what he's playing. He knows what scale he's playing in. He knows what notes that he played in. I'm not saying when he's improvised he can remember everything he played, but if he's playing a song, he has a pretty good understanding of what he's doing. He knows what, or she knows what she is doing, right? It's the same way for rhythm. The more you can kind of know what it is that you're doing and move from the subconscious to the conscious, the easier it's going to be to move these around. So we go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Change hands. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now, practice that 2 minutes straight. Then move it to the end of 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then maybe play the snare 4 or not. All we're doing is moving it around and and practicing doing that while counting out loud. And you'll find that it gets a little easier to move them around. Now, we can do 16th notes as well. So the way we count eighth notes is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But 16th notes is 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and So a popular rhythm that's played is something like this. The snare is played on the of 2, and then I'm moving the bass note as well to the and of 3. It's not playing on beat 3. I'm moving it around. And you can practice doing this by going slow and trying to move them around. So let's practice moving the bass note now on the and of 3, and as well as the snare on the and of 2. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now we have what's called some syncopation. We're not just playing on the numbers, we're playing in between the numbers, and we're practicing syncopation. Not just by playing a different rhythm, but it's actually also an exercise and practice of counting. Now, how will we actually practice it in a routine, which is important? Not just do this a few times. Oh, I get it, and then I did it a few times. That's not really practicing. That's actually learning how to do the exercise. Practicing is now taking it the next step. It was a form of practice, but practicing fully, more efficiently, is learning how to do the exercise and then fitting it within a routine. So we need repetitions, okay? We need a time that we're going to do it over. So let's say 2 minutes, and we just, for 2 minutes at a certain tempo, practice that. So we're going to go 1 and 2 and. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and count it out loud. So your mouth is coaching where your hands go. All right? Now, we're basically moving them around, and now if you can play that rhythm and you can play the bass on the end of 3, you're able to play snares on the end of 2, you're able to play snares on the end of 1 and snares on the end of 4. Now, you have it when the rhythm sounds different, you're used to and you're able to move them around because you're actually practicing them. All right? This counting idea is something that really good drummers practice quite a bit, especially in their development, in their beginning stages. It's very important. It can help you out. Hopefully this exercise and maybe even some of this concept might help you. If it has, comment below. Let me know. Check out the playlist. I've got a lot of other videos on the cajon. May the Lord bless you and keep you and make his face to shine upon you. See you soon.